Ever notice how the loudest person in the room often seems to know the least? It's a bit strange, isn't it? The people who are just starting out sound like they have all the answers. Meanwhile, the real experts, the ones who've been doing this for decades, usually say things like, well, it depends, or it's actually pretty complicated. Psychologists call it the Dunning-Kruger effect. The Dunning-Kruger effect started with a simple question. Why do some people make terrible mistakes and still feel extremely confident? In the mid-1990s, psychologist David Dunning read about a strange crime case. A man tried to rob banks without wearing a mask. When he was arrested, he was genuinely confused. He believed that rubbing lemon juice on his face would make him invisible to security cameras, because lemon juice is used as invisible ink. He was not pretending. He truly believed this would work. This made Dunning wonder, how can someone be so wrong yet so confident? More importantly, why didn't the man realize his idea made no sense? David Dunning teamed up with a graduate student named Justin Kruger. Together, they suspected something important. The skills needed to perform well are often the same skills needed to evaluate performance. If someone lacks skill, they may also lack the ability to recognize their own mistakes. They tested this idea with simple tasks: logic problems, grammar tests, sense of humor judgments. Participants took the tests and then were asked, how well do you think you did compared to others? The results were consistent and striking. The worst performers scored at the bottom, but believed they were above average. Meanwhile, the top performers scored very high, but slightly underestimated themselves. The people who knew the least were the most confident. The people who knew the most were more cautious. Dunning and Kruger realized something crucial. People who lack skill are not just bad at the task. They are also bad at judging how bad they are. This creates a double problem: low ability and high confidence. Take investing, for example. Someone opens a brokerage account for the first time. They watch a couple of trending videos, read a few expert posts online, and they place their first trade. And then, that trade actually makes money. That win feels incredible. They start thinking, maybe I'm just a natural at this. Why does everyone say the market is hard? We call this the peak of overconfidence. Their skill is still right at the bottom, but their confidence, it's through the roof. The reason it feels so good is because they can't see the monsters under the water yet. They don't see the risks. They don't see the 1,000 ways things could go sideways. Their confidence is high, but it's brittle, because it's built on a foundation of air. But then, reality has a way of showing up. The market shifts. That bulletproof strategy stops working. The losses start to pile up. Our new investor is suddenly losing money. And the worst part? They have no idea why. The world doesn't look so simple anymore. That easy money is gone, and for the first time, they realize just how deep the ocean really is. This is where the confidence breaks. Now they've hit the valley of doubt. This is the part where people feel stuck. They feel unsure, maybe even a little embarrassed about how much they thought they knew. But honestly, this is actually a great sign. It means they're finally starting to see the truth. This is where the real work begins. Instead of looking for shortcuts or chasing headlines, they start reading the heavy books. They stop bragging about wins and start studying their mistakes. They start asking better questions. Not, how do I get rich? But, how does this actually work? Slowly, bit by bit, real understanding starts to grow. With enough time and a lot of humility, confidence does come back. But it feels different this time. It's not loud or flashy. It's a quieter kind of confidence. It's careful. It knows exactly where its limits are. So what's the lesson here? The loudest confidence usually shows up way too early. The most reliable confidence, the kind you can actually trust, always shows up late. And in between those 2 points, there's a long, uncomfortable, but very necessary learning process. If you ever feel overwhelmed or like you're doubting yourself, try to remember, the Dunning-Kruger effect isn't an insult, it's a map. If you're feeling unsure, it's probably because you're finally learning for real. And that is exactly where the progress happens.